y'all need to get going after about an hour and a half probably.
Yeah, I'll need to
Are we live?
We're live, but we got my music playing over us.
Oh.
So I'm sure they can still hear us talk. And BG said
You should have warned me we're live. I would have brought the stream up.
sorry, brother. Just trying to do that. Alright, let's get this show on the road, right?
Sounds like a plan.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Nerd Nation. I want to make sure that everybody can hear me well. If you can hear me well, please let me know in the comments. How are you? Aloha, Elam. Hello, Gary, Vault Girl Slacker. Today is going to be an interesting bit of topic. We were supposed to have a third person here, but unfortunately he cannot make it. Let me make sure that everything is sounding a-okay, guys. Everything's looking good. How is it sounding? Alright, we got a little bit of a delay, but everything is working good. Great. Alright, so, like I said, this is the Nerd Nation, so let's get the Nerd Nation intro started. Alright, today we have a special guest, a man that I could honestly say I would love to cuddle with anytime, and truly helped me get my start in YouTube. We had a little show once before, and it did very well. Uh, Gary, local full pack. Welcome, sir.
Well, hello. How are you doing? Good to be here.
It is good to have you. It's good to be back with you, sir.
Oh yeah, meeting of the minds. It's going to be fantastic.
Now, there are going to be a few subjects, and I will warn everybody straight off the bat, guys. There will be spoilers in this conversation, okay? Again, I will say there will be spoilers. Um, so, Gary, what have you been up to?
Spoiler alert. I've been doing some exercises and I've been working on my Falcon model and just doing the work thing and got my first shot for the COVID vaccine the other day through the VA and I feel good. It didn't have any adverse effects or anything. But from what I've heard, that means that I didn't have COVID before. The next one will definitely kick my butt from what I've heard because that's where your body's all prepped and ready to go to fight it, and then they give it to you, and then your body goes and fights and kicks its butt. So that's when you get the fever and all the other kind of stuff that goes along with it. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, well, that's not fun.
It'll be fantastic. I'll be able to take time off from work.
um, I've been watching a lot of weird shit lately. Um, and right now I'm actually in the middle of a really good show. And by the way, the spoilers are going to be on Star Wars, Marvel Comics, and some game news. Okay. Um, so like I said, warning, spoiler alerts ahead. Yeah. Anyway, I've been watching this really interesting show right now. The Outlander. Have you heard of it?
I think I have. I haven't seen anything with it, but I have heard of it. Yeah.
It's really. Um, Gamer Victorious is asking. You said you have COVID, or you're getting prevented from it?
So I do not have COVID. Well, no, I don't have COVID. What they do, just a quick kind of explanation of what the vaccine is. They give you a bit of a protein that is the identifier of COVID. That's how your body can identify what COVID is. It's this little piece of protein. It's not the virus itself, but it's a piece of protein from the virus. And they put that in, and that's what you get. And your body's like, hey, there's protein. We don't recognize it. We're going to attack it. We're going to build all this stuff to fight it. Then, if you ever do get COVID, your body recognizes that little piece of protein, and it can go fight it. So I got the little piece of protein. That's what the vaccine is. So my body can now recognize uh, the coronavirus, and it'll attack it if I get it. But you have to get 2 doses, and I've only gotten one so far. The second one will be in about 3 weeks.
Well, thank you for clarifying that. Um, Hold on one second, guys. I gotta fix something real quick. Gary, please entertain him.
So I've got a dad joke for everybody. Why do women always rub their eyes when they wake up? Because they don't have any balls to scratch.
I do really wish I heard the whole joke, but yeah, all right. So anyway, as I was saying earlier, I've been watching Outlander. It's kind of like a sci-fi slash history show, and I don't know. It's really hard to explain. Like it takes place in World War, like just after World War II, but then it goes back to like 1753 or 1743 to the Scottish British War. And this woman is just trying to find her way back. It's really, it's a great show. I do recommend it. It plays on Stars and it's streaming on Hulu. Um, but
Interesting.
I've also been watching the weirdest fucking thing in the world, and that is Tattoo Fixes Extreme, and it's a UK version.
Huh.
And the fucking people that walk into that tattoo parlor, I'm like, what the hell? And
Yeah.
like people are like, oh
They
yeah,
have like horns and stuff.
not just well, one person showed up dressed up as a dog. Um, I don't have the trailer.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not using any actual footage tonight of anything that we're talking about. I'm just using the still pictures, just because I don't want to get copyright strike by Disney and whoever else owns
You will,
whatever else.
yeah, and you will get copyright strike by Disney. My last review, the first 20 issues of my Falcon build, I got a copyright strike right in the middle of my stream, and they actually killed my YouTube from streaming. I can put out videos, but I could not stream, and so I had to switch over to Twitch to complete my review. So yeah, you want to try to avoid actual Lucasfilm stuff. They will hurt you.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping using still pictures won't hurt.
It's good. And I haven't had too many issues with still pictures.
Um, yeah. Well, let's hope. Anyway, so getting back to this tattoo thing, um, one guy walked in dressed as a puppy. Like, you know those people that are into like the puppy life, like they pretend they're puppies.
Uh,
This guy
yeah,
walks in full like BDM, whatever you call it, puppy gear, and asks for a tattoo. And another guy walked in. Um, he had a picture of his ex girlfriend's best friend that he slept with, and his new wife, which happens to be his first cousin, doesn't want him to have the tattoo anymore.
what the what?
Yeah. Can I just say, what the fuck, UK? Like, that's something you expect down south.
For the most part, I'm all for people getting their freak on. You do whatever makes you happy. But, let's at least do whatever, makes me happy and be able to tell it to, like, be proud of it when you're like, 30 years later with a kid and a grandchild. It's like, holy shit.
How about just, think before you put something on your body permanently?
Yeah, that's the other thing, it's like, I thought long and hard before I finally got a tattoo, and it was something I had to be comfortable with before I got it.
Right, right. I'm the my tattoos have to have meaning.
Oh, yeah, yeah. For years I've been. There's one other tattoo I would like to get. Well, at least one, but I just never pulled the trigger. So
well, we're gonna speaking about stuff that we love to watch and enjoy. Let's get to our first subject here, and that is Star Wars.
Star Wars, talking about Star Wars.
Nothing but Star Wars. Oh shit! Now ABC is gonna give me a copyright strike. All right, so I personally think that Star Wars is more exciting now than it was maybe 10 years ago. Is that when the first prequel came out? A little bit longer?
The first prequel came out in 1999, so 21 years ago.
20. Holy fuck, we're old.
Yeah, we are.
God damn. The last movie, the last original movie came out a year before I was born? Was it
Yeah.
77 or 78?
Well, A New Hope came out in 77, yeah. And then Empire or Return of the Jedi came out in 83 with Empire in the middle of 80.
Oh, damn. Wow. I remember, I remember when, it first came on HBO, it was like a big thing for me and my family. Um,
Oh yeah, that's where you watch it so many times. That's HBO was definitely the place when you were a kid, at least. If a movie was rewatchable, that's how you ended up getting to the point where you could quote the entire movie while watching it and turn the sound off. You and a buddy could do all the lines.
Do you remember the intro for the premiere movies on HBO, like the helicopter coming down and
Oh
going through
yeah,
the city and
yep,
dun dun dun
yep,
dun 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 dun. Dun. Oh my god, good times. I used to love that intro because it just reminded me of like um, an action movie on itself, and it
yeah,
was just the freaking intro.
yeah. That was always pretty cool. Yeah, and then they after it had been out for a while, they did a how they made it type of thing, which was this big massive model,
Hmm.
like it was like 30 feet long or some shit like that, and yeah, it was pretty sweet though.
Anyway, I digress. I'm floating away here, but how do you feel that the franchise of Star Wars is now compared to um, we'll go back when
For the prequels.
yeah, the prequels and then when Kathleen took over.
Well, I can tell you that in 2014, I think it was when Lucasfilm was, or Lucas sold it to Disney. I
Now
think it
they
was
had
2000.
tried previously, isn't that correct?
I believe so, yeah. And it just George wasn't ready to get rid of it and all that kind of stuff. And he finally got to the point where he's like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to make these movies. Um, and so I just might as well get rid of it and let somebody else make these movies so that way it can live on or whatever. I don't, whatever his thinking was, but he finally decided to go ahead and let it go.
Do you think that was a good idea?
Well, yeah, I mean, if he's not going to do anything with them, if he wasn't going to move forward with it, then yeah, and part of it too, I had heard while he was making the prequels, he tried to get like um uh what's his name? The guy that did ET and Steven
Spielberg?
Spielberg. Yeah, he tried to get Steven Spielberg to actually come in and direct some of it and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, "No, no, this is your baby. You take care of it."
Yeah, I remember
Well,
hearing about that. Yeah.
had Steven Spielberg come in and done those at least one or two of those prequels, it would have been better. I mean, I like the story of the prequels. I thought the story was pretty good. I don't know if we necessarily had to have an entire movie for episode one, the Phantom Menace. I don't think that needed to be an entire movie. I felt like we could have had the first act could have been them finding Anakin, and then the middle act could have been, Anakin and Obi-Wan, and then the final act could have been, right into the Clone Wars. And then the second movie could have been the entire thing of the Clone Wars. That to me would have made a hell of a lot more sense. But
Yeah. I mean, I will agree that would have been a better way to go. But I mean, don't forget, without all the shit that was in episode one, they introduced some important characters like Darth Maul,
yeah, and
who
then they promptly killed him.
right, but they
But they
rectified
did,
that. I mean,
yeah,
we're hopping ahead of
right,
ourselves. They
yeah,
rectified that.
yeah.
Um,
But if unless you watch Clone Wars, you don't know they rectify that, right? Like if all you are is a Star Wars fan that's ever watched the movies, and all you know is that Darth Maul got killed, then you go watch Solo, and you're like, who the fuck's this dude that looks like Darth Maul, right?
right.
So like, they introduced a very cool character. I completely agree with that, and we did get a couple other cool characters. But they could have had that cool character go into the second movie as well,
Well,
or it could have been throughout the entire middle process of, you know, they introduce him at the beginning and then he's still chasing them, in the middle when it's Obi-Wan and Anakin while Obi-Wan's training him, and then could have dealt with them in the Clone Wars. It's just
Let
it
me
could have been done. That part could have been moved forward because I felt like movie wise we didn't get enough of the Clone Wars.
I agree. There is a lot about the Clone Wars that could have been more brought to light more than what they did in the movies. Like I did like the Battle of Kashyyyk. I thought that was great that we got to see Chewbacca's home world. But let me reverse it back and play a little bit of a devil's advocate. And I'm not defending the movie because it was not my favorite movie. Out of the whole prequels, my favorite movie was Return of the Sith.
Yep.
Um, and that's because that's the birth of Darth Vader. But
Yeah.
um, you get to see what they, to me, they were trying to show the background of why Anakin was such a great pilot in the Clone Wars. Um, and it introduces the. I mean, we're gonna play, ignorant on this, that you've never seen the other Star Wars movies. You end up finding out that what is a Sith Lord, and that there's always never just one, always two, no more, no less. So there's always a master and always an apprentice, which plays an important role in almost every one of the following movies to come, including the original Star Wars movies. Now, if you're
Right.
not a true Star Wars fan, you wouldn't know that.
Right. Exactly.
You'd be like, all right, so, Darth Maul had Dooku. Dooku had Plagueis. Vader had, well, Plagueis and the Emperor, who are the same. Um, and then further on, you had Bitch Boy there. What's his name? Ren.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren had the guy who lasted all of 2 seconds, but then had the
Right.
Emperor. you know,
Right. Right.
there's always two Sith Lords, and the first movie specified that, and that's not something you would know. Now,
Right. Exactly. And it definitely covered some good stuff, but um, maybe the first one's okay, uh, as is. Maybe they should fix the second one because the
oh,
second one,
definitely.
most people have more problems with the second one than more or less any other movie, except for maybe The Last Jedi.
Right, right. Oh, I liked the last Jedi. I liked the further ones, but yeah, the second one was a piece of dog shit. I think they could have cut a good hour and a half out of that love scene, and we still would have gotten it.
For sure. I mean, it was like, you got that at the beginning of the movie, right?
Right,
Like soon as the movie started, you see Anakin all nervous and whatnot. Then yeah, you know where his heart is, and he's a dude, so you know where the rest of his body's at too. Then it just comes down to getting Padme to follow suit. That could have been that could have just been gone through some sort of stressful situation like with his mother, and then they get caught up in the whole thing in the, the fighting ring, and boom, there it is. Like you don't have to make it overly complex.
right,
They did though.
right. So let's fast forward a little bit. I mean, because I'm pretty sure that just about everybody who's listening or going to be listening knows the Star Wars saga. Um, and then Kathleen Kennedy takes it over, and it goes to shit.
Right.
Um,
At least movie wise. Well, saga movie wise, yes,
I'm gonna say the whole universe. I mean, come on. Somebody comes in and goes, everything you know about Star Wars, forget about it.
well, yeah,
This is what canon.
they killed the entire expanded universe, which pretty much did away with my entire 20s. Um, as far as any book that I read was, I'm looking at a shelf now, my bookshelf, and I've probably got 40 books over there, different Star Wars books, all from the extended universe stuff that is no longer canon. and
Right.
there are some good stories in there too,
Oh,
and
exactly.
I enjoyed a lot of them, and I thought they were all very good. And yeah, they just nope,
And the
you're
thing
just
that
gonna
pisses me
ignore all
off
that
about
shit
it
now.
is that the thing that pisses me off about it is that the Star Wars franchise is kept alive or has been kept alive so long because of the fan fiction that made it canon.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't. It's not hard to make a new character and be like, all right, this person's in the movie now. But to take a original character, okay, from the first three movies that maybe only had 15, 20 minutes of it and make three or four books out of it with a story is fucking phenomenal. Like Wedge. Wedge has his own series in the books. You know, the Bounty Hunter tales.
Yeah.
Like, how hard is that? And that's why I'm really, really grateful for John Favreau and Dave Filoni.
Yeah, and I mean, part of it is I understand that there was no kind of law and order when it came to any of the books. So any writer could write about anything and say anything with or use any of the characters to move his story forward. George Lucas didn't care as long as he could cash the check, right? So you might have like three different stories. I mean, the this is Star Wars. This isn't comic books where you can just you know have the same character do three different things through the same timeline and not have to worry about just being that's in a different universe or whatever. This is it's supposed to be all canon and follow a linear path, and that's what they were having. They were running into issues with this book had Luke Skywalker doing this thing, and then this book had Luke Skywalker doing this thing, and it was all during the same time period and all that kind of stuff. And so I understand why they did it, but a wholesale nope, sorry, gone. I mean, they could have gone back, and there was a lot of it that was pretty good. They could have just said, that one is no longer any good, that one's no longer any good, and that one's no longer any good. At the same time, too, they want to open themselves up for maybe want to tell a story in that time period that included those characters. So far, they haven't. So I don't know why they're fucking worried about it,
Well,
except for maybe they don't want to have Han and Leia having three kids and Luke having a kid and being married and all that kind of stuff. Who knows?
well, I mean, according to rumors, and I'm going to say this is just rumors. Um, take it easy, Gamer V. Thanks for stopping by. Um, isn't Thrawn a fan fiction character?
I wouldn't say he was a fan fiction character. He was written by Timothy Zahn, which was probably the best trilogy book series out of all of at the very least, all of the expanded universe books. That book series is what really lit a fire under the ass of the whole expanded universe stuff. And yeah, so that's where he started there, and he's a very beloved character for sure, especially by expanded universe fans.
Yeah, but I mean, technically, I mean, if it's not written by Lucas, it's not. It's all fan fiction, correct?
I I don't know if I don't know if they label it as that. I mean, I could see that argument for sure, and if that's how you want to label it, then yeah, I'm okay with that. I
Well,
think more of fan fiction is like a complete amateur coming up with something, and you know it's they throw it out there for, hey, look, this is the story that I came up with or whatever.
to me, if
Whereas
it's
it
not
was officially
written,
licensed, but it was officially licensed by Lucasfilm at the time.
mm,
So that make to me that makes it not fan fiction
I
because
can
it's
see a
officially
point on
licensed
that.
by that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, because of Filoni and favor or whatever that favor, por favor. Um, we have a great show that's now had 2 seasons. The Mandalorian,
Great show.
fucking phenomenal show. I would
Not
sell
only do we
anybody
have
on
a
that.
great show because of them, but we're gonna have spinoffs because of them.
Correct. Now let's get into the spoiler end of it, folks. If you haven't watched the season, I'm sorry. Go watch the season because I know sometimes I don't want to see this, but hearing about it sometimes makes me want to watch it more. If you don't know what the story of the Mandalorian it's like a space cowboy show. Would you not agree on that one?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's even how they tried to sell it was a space cowboy, old western style, done in space type of thing.
Right. And he ends up coming across um, he's going across the galaxy collecting bounties to make money, and he comes across a bounty that was put out by the New Order, is what I think they call it. Correct?
Well, that's what they call it. I think the guy that had put out the bounty was still part of the Empire before they became the New Order. So,
Okay.
because it takes place somewhere between 5 and 9 years after Return of the Jedi.
Right. Right. Um, so the bounty is essentially play is a baby Yoda.
Right.
The child is what they were calling him for a whole season until you find out his name is Groku, which is a great name. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm
And
glad they didn't name him something with a Y, like because you have Yoda and then Yaddle from the same species from I think it was in episode 1. Yaddle was in there, so same species. They both had Y's in their name. Glad they went with something that didn't have a Y in it.
see, that's something I didn't even know. That's why I have you on because you are my Star Wars expert.
Yeah,
Um,
I I I I follow it pretty hard.
yeah. So he is tasked of getting Grogu and bringing him back to the Empire for blood work, which you don't find out later on. They're doing testing on it
Right.
for his midichlorians and force sensitive people.
Yep.
Um,
Of course, at the time when when the Mandalorian gets the bounty for it, all he knows is it's a 50-year-old thing that he's got to go get.
right,
And he, uh, he goes there and finds out this ain't no thing. This is a child. Of course, when you can live 900 years old, 50-year-olds is still a child in that species. So yeah,
which is I find interesting on its own because Mandalorians are supposed to be warriors, like not
yeah,
stricken by feelings. They can block their feelings out and continue their mission. But
right.
the Mandalorian falls pretty much in love, or falls for to love this child as his own.
Yeah, and I mean, and they, of course, they kind of through some you know flashbacks and that kind of stuff. You kind of understand why, because of his child upbringing. Not really upbringing, but what happened to him as a child when the um, oh, what do you call them? The Federation, the CIS, the Confederation of Independent Systems or whatever. Basically, the bad guys in the first 3 movies. One of their droids comes and like starts killing everybody on in his town or whatever, to include his parents, and he almost gets killed himself
Right.
as a young boy. So yeah, that's kind of where and then he got rescued as a young boy by the Mandalorians, and so yeah.
And there's some great cameos um, for actors that are in this, as well
Oh yeah, without a
as
doubt.
I think who was it? Colt 45, dude. not Billy D. Williams. Sorry, Action Jackson. He played
Yeah.
a character in it.
Carl Weathers.
Carl Weathers. Yeah, Mendo. Um, along as with some other actors that you would not expect to be in a Star Wars movie. You know, a couple comedians play some serious character roles.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Bill Burr was pretty rocking.
Bill Burr was awesome, and I loved how they ended his, or how the season ended with him.
Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure.
so eventually, things happen. They defy the Empire, and the Mandalorian finds out that Grogu was a youngling during the Clone Wars, or so it is um, implied. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was more than implied. That was the story that he told to Ahsoka, right?
Right.
And yeah,
And my God, I am so fucking excited. I was so happy that they put Ahsoka Tano in it as an
yeah,
adult, and they picked
yeah.
an awesome actress. I love her dearly. Um, she, God, she
Rosario Dawson.
Rosario Dawson. Thank you. I am so
Yeah,
horrible with names.
I mean, she looks, she fits the mold for the character perfectly. She looks like her, everything. I mean, she's got the ability to do all of the movements and the stances and all that kind of stuff. Just absolutely nailed. And there's a lot of people that were a bit hurt that they didn't ask Ashley Eckstein, who was the voice actress for Ahsoka through the entire Clone Wars series and Rebels.
She was
Um,
very much the face.
yeah, yeah, and so they didn't ask her. They didn't even ask her to audition for the role. They said, "We're gonna have this character. Rosario Dawson should have it." So they asked her if she wanted to do it. Like they didn't even like hesitate. They're like, "That's what we're gonna have." You know, it wasn't even put out there for people to come in and try out for or nothing. It was like, "This is who we want," and she said yes, and so they went with it.
Yeah, I mean, I am a little surprised about that, but I'm not mad.
No, I'm not either.
I mean, we're gonna get a Sukatam series out of it
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Rosario in it, which is great, and that's something we're gonna talk about here in a little bit. And then, so one of my other favorite things about the actors that they brought into it was they brought Mercedes Rodriguez, aka Sasha Banks from the WWE, to
yeah.
play a Mandalorian, and the woman who played in Starbuck. I'm sorry.
Yep. Yeah, she
She
was
played Starbuck.
in st- Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar
Yeah.
Galactica. Again, some great picks as actors and
Well, and the
actresses.
really cool thing about her is she was the voice actress for that character in Clone Wars and in Rebels as well.
I
So
did not know that.
yeah, so that works out really well. I for life of me I can't think of her name, but yeah, so she played Starbuck, and then she was in some long long armor or something like that. She was like out in Wyoming kind of cop or something like that. She was in there. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah.
Thank you there,
Thank
Eric.
you, Slacker. Yeah, she is a great actress. I've seen her in a couple movies.
Yep.
She is just great, and her face is very animated, which is important because there's a lot of stuff that is unsaid, but still said in a way, and her face shows more of it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And yeah, she's got that Bo-Katan character down just uh she's just got it down perfect. Like she said I saw an interview with her and she's like she will have dreams as that character. Like she's like nailed into it. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And those are the kinds of people that you want to play characters in your stuff, right? Like, if whether you're talking about Marvel, you're talking about DC, or you're talking about Star Wars, any of the major things, you want the people that like really get into the characters like that and feel like they are that character.
Mm.
They make that character so much their own,
Unless
and
you're
that's cool.
Gerard Leto, and then you don't want him on set at all.
Right, exactly.
um, so let's just continue this a little further. So at the end of season 2, which is right now the end of Mandalorian, up to date is the Mandalorian who is forbidden to show his face shows his face to
Two
everyone.
times. Two
Yes,
times.
2 times, and gives Grogu to da, 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 a young Luke Skywalker. Okay.
Yeah, I had to grab a pillow, cover my crotch because I popped wood when he showed up, and I was watching the show with my daughter, and she just can't see that. I was so fucking excited when his X-wing came in. I said, "Is that fucking Luke Skywalker?"
Yeah, I was the same
And like
way.
my reaction was just like, the elevator opens up, you see him from behind, and I'm like, that it's a cloaked figure. Is that fucking Luke Skywalker? And my daughter's like, nah. And then the lightsaber lights up. I'm like, it's fucking green. I'm just like losing it like every step. It's got a gloved hand. And then they finally show him. I'm like, son of a bitch. I was just fucking just ecstatic.
Oh,
Uh,
believe me, I was throwing shit in my room, going, fist pumping in the air, going, yeah. Um, and
the,
if
the
you, the best thing about that, his entrance, okay,
oh
is if
dude.
you compare it to the first time you see Darth Vader's entrance.
And Rogue One, yeah,
Rogue One Rogue One is just an
The New Hope,
extension of A New Hope. They're so fucking similar.
yeah, yeah, it's very very cool.
And again, I have to give it up to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni for doing something like that, to think of that, and it's like kudos.
Yeah, the problem is that's the Luke Skywalker, and there's a reason why so many people, especially us older fans, hate the Last Jedi so much because of what they did to Luke Skywalker. I mean, it's got a lot of other faults in it, if you ask me, but what they did to Luke Skywalker and how they took that character's arc is just completely fucking wrong. What Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni did, they completely redeemed Luke Skywalker's character and did it in about a minute and a half scene. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have a little bit of peace in my heart now. So yeah, for sure. That's fucking brilliant.
Well, now that we have like hurrahed about it and all heart warmed, I'm gonna shit on the scene for a minute. And by all means, I'm not saying I hate it, because I fucking loved it. It was brilliant. But I think they could have done their CGI a
Sure.
little bit better.
Yeah, there was a video that, and I never did watch it because I was like, just the thumbnail alone was like, yep, okay. But there was like, this is, Luke Skywalker, Lucasfilm's CGI of Luke Skywalker, and they had however much time they wanted and all the money, and this is mine after like a day and a half, and his was so much better, like
Yeah,
fucking,
I watched
and
it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, they could have done a lot better with it for sure. I mean, did it have the semblance of Luke Skywalker? Yeah, okay. It was sure that looked like him. It wasn't a spitting image of him, but it was, a passable image, you know. But they could have done so much better,
I mean,
without a doubt.
the movies, what they did with Princess Leia.
Yeah, for
Why couldn't they
sure.
use that technology? Why couldn't they even have Mark Hamill come in and just,
He was credited on the show too,
yeah? Well,
whether or
he did
not
the
it was his
voice.
voice or whatever. But yeah, so they credit him as Luke Skywalker. Now, Katie Sackhoff, in the interview that I saw with her, she said she had no idea who it was. She didn't know anything about it. They just had some dude there with little dots on his face so they could do the motion capture stuff. And they had no idea that it was going to be Luke Skywalker. She didn't know until she watched the episode.
Do you think they did that on purpose?
Yeah, they did not want the secret to get out. They absolutely, without a doubt, did not want the secret to get out.
Did Disney
Uh,
learn from Marvel's mistakes on spoiler alerts?
oh, they're Disney's very big on protecting for spoiler alerts. Because the on after season one they had a thing called the gallery,
Yeah.
where they behind the scenes thing for
I did
season
watch
one.
that because of you. Thank you. It was
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah, and then they did one for season two, which I haven't watched. As far as I know, it was like just like all encompassing. Is they only had like one episode for it or something. It did not have. I haven't watched it, but from what I understand, it doesn't have anything about Luke Skywalker in it.
Hmm.
Like, so what the thought is that they didn't even want to have the people doing the behind the scenes stuff for the gallery to even be on set to even know what was happening. Like they wanted to keep it so tight-lipped that they didn't want like just a few extra people on the set that would be filming this stuff to be around to possibly have a hint of what was going on. So it was like, okay, like they totally wanted to lock that down, just like they did with Grogu. When he got first introduced, like the amount of money Disney could have made not this past year, but the year before for Christmas,
Oh
if
yeah.
Baby Yoda would have been out, you know, they didn't, let that cat out of the bag, and none of his um, stuff came out until well after Christmas.
Right.
And
Right.
you know, had they done it before, he would have been a freaking hit. They would have made all kinds of money.
And I'm also gonna. I would be remiss if I did not mention. I am sorry, Boba Fett. You are now officially a badass.
Yeah, no shit, right? Like I am one of those people that I was always like, who gives a shit about Boba Fett? Whatever, you
He's
know.
a one pump
He
chump.
died, yeah, he died like a little bitch. Like who gives a shit?
The character that they brought back as Boba Fett played in the Clone Wars in the movies as
Yep,
Jango Fett.
yep, and was all the clones. Yeah,
Yeah, and
so, which they did a great
fucking
job with that.
again, hurrah, Disney.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hate to give Disney kudos because I cannot stand anything that Disney stands for. But
yeah,
god damn, you're doing a good job.
yeah. As long as they didn't make, if they wouldn't have made episode 8, which then forced the hand of episode 9 the way it was. Like episode 8 just fucking ruined they like everything. There was people that had problem with episode 7, right? The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
People had, oh, it felt too much like A New Hope and blah blah. Shut the fuck up. Like it did what it had to do. It got us all geeked up and excited. It introduced some pretty fucking awesome characters. The only thing that it didn't do was it didn't give us more time with Luke. You see him right at the very end. Other than that, it's a pretty good fucking movie, and it made a lot of fucking Star Wars fans very excited. It made a lot of Star Wars fans, like people that was barely a Star Wars fan, super excited. My cousin, he's like, I don't really like Star Wars. He saw that and he got all geeked up. He wanted to figure out who the fuck Snoke was. He wanted to know who Daisy Ridley, or not Daisy, but Ray's family was. He
Mm-hmm.
was all into it. He's like, I got to know this stuff. And then the Last Jedi comes out, and he's like, I could give a shit less about Star Wars. Like it just fucking ruined it for him.
They did
You know?
drop the ball in a lot of areas. They could have gone a lot of different ways
Yeah.
with that. And I mean, granted, I did enjoy the last three, as well as the big hated Han Solo movie.
Oh, and the thing is, I don't think it was so much hated. I just think that it did not get it came out of the wrong time. I think the people that have watched it have really enjoyed Solo. My brother, he got turned off after The Last Jedi, and he's like, they ruined Star Wars for me, whatever. It took him a little while. It actually took me longer to watch Solo than it did for him. He watched it and he was like, "That was a good movie." He goes, "That really had me going. It felt like Star Wars. It was, you know, it did everything I needed a Star Wars movie to do for me." And like I said, he's been a Star Wars fan as long as I have. And I watched it, couldn't agree more. I mean, it's a great fucking Star Wars movie. And the fact that it didn't do as well in the box office, let's see, you're going up against Marvel, uh, not Endgame, but Infinity War,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the second um, Deadpool movie coming out,
Right.
like bam, bam, right there, and then you're going to release this thing, and you're not going to market it, and you know who they did for marketing? Fucking Denny's. That's the only marketing they did for it was a thing with Denny's.
Right.
Like you're not going to put any effort in it, and then you're going to be like, well, okay, so apparently that was a turd.
And I'm gonna blame Kennedy
Nobody
for it.
cared about. Exactly. They should have said, okay, because of the fact that we had to do all this extra stuff with it, right? We had to bring a new director and all that kind of stuff. She made the piss poor decision with the first director. She should have known what kind of movie they were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
They do fucking basically slapstick comedy. And so when they get slapstick comedy in Star Wars and they're like, that's not what we want. And then, you should have fucking known that from the get go. But, so that was all on her. And it was all on her to say, you know what, let's push this release time back even a couple months. If they would have pushed it back, say September or whatever. You'd have to look to see what other movies were coming out at the time
Right.
to see what would have worked. But fucking push it back to December or something. There's no reason why they couldn't have done it in December.
Now, did I
Uh,
hear correctly that Kathleen Kennedy is being asked to step down or is being fired?
no, her contract runs out sometime this year. So, um, there's nothing I've heard that she's actually been asked to step down or is being fired or anything like that. It's just her contract's running out. And so the question is whether or not she'll get a new contract or she'll just decide she doesn't want a new contract and step away. She's like 60s. She's in her 60s. Maybe she just feels like it's time to move on. Now,
Well, she's hated more than fucking.
there's a lot of Star Wars fans, especially older Star Wars fans particularly, that pretty much can't stand her.
Who's that character that everybody hated? There, Jar Jar Binks. She's more hated than Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah,
Okay,
no shit, right?
and if you're more hated than Jar Jar Binks in the Star Wars universe, I think I'd step away. Makes
Yeah,
sense,
yeah,
you know.
definitely.
But
Yeah, but she doesn't see it that way. She's like, "Oh, I'm doing exactly what I want to do." It's the thing I don't like is the pushing of the political BS in some of the decisions that they make.
which
We got to
brings
do
us
this,
to something
the
else.
the PC correct stuff and blah blah blah. Whatever. Just give me a good story. I don't give a shit if the lead character's a man or a woman or a fucking dog or whatever. Doesn't fucking matter. Make it a good story and you've got me. You
Right.
know.
Well, like you said, the whole political end of it. Cara Dune. The
Yep.
person who's the actress playing Cara Dune is being fired for making, and I'm air quoting here, unpolitically correct tweets.
Right. Yep.
Do you want to take this one and explain what her tweets are? Because I know you know
Yeah.
it better than me.
Yeah. So a while ago, she made some tweets where she whether or not she legitimately didn't know what it meant or the reasoning why or whatever, but she made some it wasn't actually a tweet. She made a posting um on her Twitter where a lot of people on their Twitter they'll put her, hers, and whatever for their kind of their pronouns or whatever. Well, she put a thing out that was just beep bop boop. And so basically it was, like her way really of saying, look, I don't really have any pronouns. I'm just going to go with something generic here. and probably somewhat making fun of it. Well, everybody, not everybody, but apparently a lot of the people in that community like just lost their mind over it, and she had to you know do a little bit of backtracking and saying I'm sorry and whatever. I mean, she had a few other tweets that went along with it and whatever, but that was the first instance. The last instance, she made a few tweets or on Instagram or something where she was basically saying that it wasn't just the Nazis that had killed all the Jews in Europe during World War II. It was their friends and their neighbors that killed them. And then
Which,
some
mind you, okay, let me interrupt you. She's not wrong. Okay, she's not
exactly
wrong because if we know a little bit of our history, a lot of the Jews that were arrested at that time were turned in by their neighbors and other Jews for fear of their lives and their prosecution.
right, right, exactly. So then she, on top of that, she basically said that um, she made the comparison of conservatives with Jews, where this was shortly after the um, whatever the protest. I'll just call it that. The protest at Capitol. I don't think it was an insurrection or anything like that. It's just a bunch of people that got into the Capitol building. Um, they so shortly after that, and then she made these comments because if you're a conservative or a Republican or whatever, like they're making it out like you were the one fucking breaking out windows and barging into the Capitol and whatever. And it was like completely stupid. So that's what she was trying to say. And of course, everybody just lost their shit over it. And it was like, wasn't very long after that. They're like, yep, you're fired. They didn't even give her a chance to apologize or nothing or explain herself or whatever. They just fucking fired her. So
Which is
no,
ridiculous.
no more Cara Dune. The last rumor I heard, or the last thing that I heard officially, was that they weren't going to recast the character, specifically for Mandalorian. Anyway, they're not going to recast the character, um, and so yeah, there won't be a Cara Dune character any longer.
Which is ridiculous. I mean, she was a great character. And a good looking woman, too. Um,
Yeah,
but her character was great. You know, how she went from a
sure.
mercenary to the sheriff of a town, working
Yeah,
for the Republic.
right,
Whatever.
right.
Alright, so let's talk about the future of Star Wars now.
Okay.
Um, what we have forward to look to. Look, what we have to. How do I say it? What we're happy to see coming to us
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
near future. Well, I won't say near future because I think they have it like all mapped out in like 10 years.
Yeah, it's I don't know exactly the time period, but I know movie-wise it's still like 5 years away for the final movie or something.
Right. So we're going to get more movies based in the Star Wars universe, but not the storyline that we know and have come to love. It's an all new storyline. Not all new, but it's the whole Darth Vader, Luke, Leia, Han Solo is done. It's over with.
Yeah, they're not gonna be using any of the saga stuff anymore, right?
So one of the ones that we have coming out, as like I said before, is um, the Ahsoka series,
Yep.
which is great, and I'm going to tie these together, okay? Because they kind of do go hand in hand, um, rumor wise, as well as the Obi-Wan Kenobi mini series that's going to be coming out.
Yeah.
And this part I know of, Hayden Christian has been signed on to come back as Anakin for cameos.
Um, I think they made it out like it was going to be he was going to be playing Darth Vader
Right.
in the Kenobi series. Yeah.
But the rumors are that he could be playing Anakin in the Ahsoka series.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, like
Yeah.
flashbacks.
I'm sure that. Yeah, there's probably rumors for that as well. Yeah, doing flashbacks and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I could see it. It makes sense like that they would try to do that
So,
for sure.
and what I've heard, and I'm never always 100% in on what I hear. The voice of Darth Vader is going to be two characters, two actors, Hayden Christian, as well as the original style Darth Vader,
James Earl
James
Jones.
Earl Jones. So there are going to be parts and scenes where um, there's actually a fight scene in the Clone. I think it's the Clone Wars. Um,
Rebels.
Rebels cartoon where Ahsoka fights Darth Vader and breaks his mask. Now there are rumors that they're going to be redoing that scene, and before the mask breaks, it's going to be James Earl Jones. When the mask breaks, it's going to be Hayden Christian, as well as Hayden Christian coming back to do Obi-Wan's story, which I think is great. It's going to be phenomenal. I mean,
I think it's great to some degree because the reason why I say that is because there's a very specific line that they have to be cognizant of, which is when Obi-Wan and Vader meet up in A New Hope, and it's right towards the spot where they're getting ready to leave, and Vader says, your powers are weak. I've not, you know, I've not, or it wasn't actually when they fought. It was he was making a comment to Tarkin or something. He's like, I feel a presence that I haven't felt since, and so he's feeling Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he hasn't felt his presence, and they allude to hasn't felt him since he was his master.
see, I thought he was talking
So,
about Ahsoka.
huh?
I might be thinking of the wrong scene.
No, so in A New Hope,
Oh, okay.
Vader says to Tarkin, I sense a presence that I haven't sensed since, or I haven't felt since, and it's alluding to, I feel my old master, but I haven't felt him since the last time we fought, or, since the last time I saw him, which was when we fought, and I turned into this. That's like basically the implications all the way up until, now that pretty much everybody kind of feels when they see that scene. And then when they fight, like, it's like you feel like that's the first time they fought because he says, um, when last we met, I was the learner, but now I am the master.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's only 10 years between when the Kenobi series is taking place and when A New Hope takes place. So there's only a 10-year difference. So you're saying Vader was only a learner if they run into each other during that time period? And Obi-Wan was the master, but now in that 10-year stretch, all of a sudden Vader got even better.
Well, yeah.
Like,
If you read,
I mean, he could get better, but not so much to the point where he's like, I was just a learner. Nah, I don't think so. They're gonna have to, if they're gonna do it, they better fucking do it right because there's gonna be a shit ton of people like me that'll be like, you fucked it up. So they
well,
better get it right. That's all I'm saying.
there is a book that happens. Hey, Easy. Um,
Hey, easy.
there's a book that happens between 3 and A New Hope, and it is canon. Okay, it was put out as canon. It remains canon. And I wish I could the Sith Lord, or I think it's what it's called, or something like that. I have it
Yeah,
somewhere in my room.
yeah, yeah. I've read it. It's with Vader and he's
Plagueis.
with Palpatine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Palpatine. And technically, when Obi Wan fought um, Anakin on that planet, the lava planet, Mustafa.
Mustafar, yeah.
Hey, I remember the name. Kudos for me. All
Nicely
right, hit a
done.
thumbs up, guys, because I got a name right. um, he is technically still a Padawan, or yeah, he's considered still a Padawan. He is not a full Jedi Knight,
No,
and
no, no, no. He is a full Jedi Knight. He's not considered a Jedi Master.
all right,
He is no longer a Padawan because he doesn't have the little ponytail
I agree.
and the
Okay,
beads and all that kind of stuff. So
so
he is
but
he is a Jedi Knight,
as a Jedi Knight,
right?
you are not. You are always learning until you are a Jedi Master, and even I think a few
Right,
times Yoda said, "As a Jedi Master, you're always learning."
right.
Uh, so, but you got to think. You got to remember.
Actually, Yoda says,
Always learning you are, even as a master.
uh, good impression. But if you remember correctly, when he finally goes over to Palpatine, he's calling Palpatine Master.
right, because
Okay,
he has to.
he's still learning. He's still much to learn.
Yeah, but he's learning from the dark side
He,
aspect,
but
right?
still, he's not a master yet. He's not a Sith. Well, he's a Sith Lord. He's actually considered a Sith Lord, but he is not a Sith Master. And in the
This is a
book,
gray area because there can only be two, the apprentice and the master.
right?
Doesn't mean
Okay,
he's not actually a master, just means he can't be considered a master because there's only two and my master is still alive.
but until you got that master, all right. If you're
That's that.
training to be a supervisor, are you a
So
supervisor?
so you could be you could be the biggest fucking expert on in the world about one subject, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're the one that everybody comes and talks to. But you're not considered an expert because nobody gave you a fucking piece of paper that said you're an expert. But
There
you're
can
still
only
the
be
guy that they come
one.
fucking talk to you about it.
There can only be
Like
one most expert,
it's
and until that
yeah.
person dies, you are not the number one most expert. So therefore, you are considered still learning. But I digress.
Yeah,
I mean, we could fight this all night long.
it's semantics,
It is
right?
semantics. But
Yeah.
let me get back to the book. From the moment when Anakin is still hunting down the Jedi's, he is honing in his suit, making um, corrections to it, still learning how to use the dark side of the Force, and then all of a sudden, in A New Hope, boom, he is now considered the great Sith Lord because he has wiped out the Jedi, supposedly. Um,
But
he
yeah,
is in
but that's also
charge.
like over a 19-year period, right?
Right.
So I'm just saying, I'm guessing and I'm saying that after 9 years, he had gotten all that shit nailed down, right? I feel like after 9 years, he was pretty much the big bad. Like he had all the swagger, the capability, whatever that he's gonna have in another 10 years. He's already got all that stuff figured out. He knows he's got the suit fucking nailed down. He can use his artificial arms and legs perfectly. He knows all the fucking different powers he needs to be able to use. Choke a bitch out and rip some
In
shit off
and
the
out
wall,
of
and
the
throw it at
bed.
you. And yeah, right, exactly. So I feel like he's already hit his fucking peak, like at least 10 years prior.
Yeah, but it's not the moment when he's turned into Vader.
Oh, I'm not saying it is the moment he turned into Vader,
So
but
therefore, what he's saying
that's
is
not
not
when that's
necessarily
not
a
when
lie.
that's not when Kenobi and he are going to meet up in the Kenobi series.
Well,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
They meet up
okay.
in the Kenobi series. That's why when they met at Mustafar, if they don't meet again, when they meet at A New Hope, all that dialogue makes perfect sense. When last we met, I was the learner, but now I am the master. Yes, I completely agree. That would work. Now, if they meet 10 year or 9 years earlier,
I
or
see what
whatever
you're
it
saying.
is,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
then I'm saying Vader probably would have been a fucking master at that point too. That's what I'm saying.
Could
So
be.
they better fucking do it right, and it better not, you know, create a bunch of fucking loopholes in the dialogue because they've already done a few of those things already. Lucas did enough of that shit himself when he, the whole thing with Luke having a crush on Leia and, Leia giving him a kiss. And of course, we all know Leia did that just to make
John.
Han, Han even more
John
jealous.
Solo. I know my
Yeah.
name is John Solo.
So, yeah, I mean, but, Lucas kind of made enough plot holes and whatever, in and of themselves. They just better not do it. They
I
better get it
agree.
right if that's what they're gonna do.
I
So
agree.
I'm not gonna be excited for it until I see what they did, and then I'll be excited, or not, depending on how they do it.
So, what do you think about the
Hey,
Book of
Plaz.
Fett? Brother Plaz.
Well, because of the fact that they did the Fett redemption, they redeemed Boba Fett in my eyes. Pretty excited about it. Um, it's really interesting because so the Book of Fett is going to take place next or this upcoming December.
Mm-hmm.
The really funny thing was Kathleen Kennedy said that Mandalorian was going to resume in Christmas or something like that.
Right.
So, are they going to have two shows going at once? Or what a lot of people are suspecting is that the Book of Fett is actually going to be
Season 3 of The
season
Mandalorian.
3 of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
yeah.
curious on that myself. And I
Yeah, and
think
supposedly they haven't even started filming for season 3 yet, and they're not going to do that until like April or something.
I think if I read things correctly, and again, I'm never 99%, there's actually going to be 3 Star Wars things going on because right now, as you can see it, they're doing a cartoon of the Bad Batch.
I've heard Bad Batch may be coming out as early as May.
Oh, that'd be great. I loved them. If you guys don't know who
Yeah,
the Bad
those
Batch
are going to be
are,
pretty cool.
so Disney had, when they acquired the Clone Wars and stuff like that, they decided that they were, well, before Disney acquired them, I think, they killed off the Clone Wars animated series. And it
Right.
left a lot of questions. So then Disney turned around and said, all right, we'll bring it back for limited episodes and tie up some loose ends. And in doing that, they introduced this batch of clones that were defective and got cast aside. Well, these defects became far more superior than the actual clones themselves in their certain fields. And the Clone Wars showed quite a few episodes where they brought back Ahsoka for that. Which, by the way, dude, I was so psyched that they pretty much followed the book of Ahsoka's life after she left the Order.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So the Bad Batch is a bunch of misfit clones that became their own regiment, and they got such great ratings that they're going to be making their own series about it. And I'm excited for one to see it.
I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, they. It's hard to. It's something you'd have to watch. It's not really easy to explain who they are and their characteristics. But they are a bunch of
Yeah, I mean,
badass clones.
I'll tell you, if you've not seen Clone Wars and you've not seen Rebels, you're doing yourself a disservice if you're a Star Wars fan. The amount of quality storytelling and characters that happen in there. I got my daughter because this past season of Mandalorian, I had heard who was going to be in it, so I wanted my daughter to understand some of the characters. So, like a dumbass, I was like, "Well, let's watch Rebels," and I'm like, we got like 3 episodes in. I'm like, shit, we can't watch Rebels. We got to watch Clone Wars first because she's gonna get her introduced to Ahsoka. She has to know who the fuck that is first. So we went back, started watching Clone Wars, and so watched through that, and she was hooked. She was like, Clone Wars is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then we went back and we're back into watching Rebels,
Now,
and like it
forewarning,
just completely solidified her love for Star Wars. I'll tell you that.
I will give you a forewarning. The first few episodes of the Clone Wars animated series is a little rough to watch because it's based out of like news serial episodes.
Yeah, yeah.
But then
And
they,
they're not done linearly either, meaning like there might be an episode in season 3 that actually took place in the timeline as an episode in season 1. So yeah, they're kind of all over the place in that regard.
yeah, but it's still very good to watch. Now I know we're running out of
Yeah.
time here, so let's move on.
Yep.
Okay. So we're both in agreement that the future of Star Wars is looking bright.
Yeah. Now if they don't get their movies nailed down, the good thing is they're stepping away from the saga, so we don't have to worry about that. Them shitting all over our previous loves. And the movies, the Rogue One and Solo, I thought they fucking just crushed it. I thought they did great with both those movies. They did a
Mm-hmm.
fantastic job, and so I couldn't enjoy those movies any more than I already do. Um,
So
so
now we
hopefully the
have,
new movies going forward will be even better.
which is I believe Rogue Squadron and um,
And so there's 3 Rogue Squadron. Then there's the Taika Waititi, who he was the writer director of Thor Ragnarok. So if you liked Thor Ragnarok, you'll like that.
I
He
do
was
love it.
also one of the directors of one of the season 1 episodes of Mandalorian, and he actually was the one that did the characterization or the voice or whatever for IG-11 in season 1. So yeah, he's a funny guy and all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, he's going to be the directing one of the movies, and I think he's doing the screenplay as well, or he's writing it or whatever. And then Dave, not Dave, Kevin Feige is producing a Star Wars movie. And so those are the 3 that are officially on the slate. However, just the other day, somebody had won a auction to do a face-to-face conversation with a celebrity, and hers was with Ryan Johnson. And supposedly she had asked him what the story was with his movies because he was supposed to be doing a trilogy. They had announced it before The Last Jedi came out. All this shit happened with The Last Jedi, and you don't hear anything else about it, other than Ryan Johnson going, "Yeah, I'm still doing it, but I'm busy." Well, that's basically what he said was, "Yeah, it's still going to happen. I'm just busy." Well, Disney has not said yay, nay, or whatever, and you notice they didn't include that in their press release that
Right.
that was going to those it was were supposed to be a trilogy. There was nothing in that press release about his trilogy whatsoever. Now, if it's still planned, then you can throw it out there and say, "Yeah, this is still planned." We don't know exactly when it's going to happen though. But nope, they don't say a fucking thing about it. So whether or not that's still going to happen or not, that's still up in the air. But yeah,
Right. All right. So we have that, and um, good news on the game front is that EA in 2023 is losing sole exclusivity of the Star Wars games.
yay!
Thank Christ. Now
Yeah,
it
they haven't
doesn't.
made a Star Wars game yet that I've liked.
Oh, I mean, Battlefront 2 was okay. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
but I don't play that kind of game
Yeah, you're not a
per
first-person
se.
shooter, right?
Yeah, I don't
You're
I
not a
don't play the
PvP.
PvP thing. And I felt like the story part wasn't long enough for me to enjoy.
I
Right.
agree. I didn't like the linear way they did the story, so I lost interest in it real quick.
Well, that's the other problem. I'm give me an open world sandbox. Um, RPG and let me just go fucking do my thing.
Now, let me further the news on that, okay? So, EA will still be making some Star Wars games,
Yep.
but they're no longer just exclusively to them.
Thank Christ.
Ubisoft is in the works of making a Star Wars game, which is story driven, going to be open world, but we probably will not be seeing it until after 2023 because of the exclusivity clause in
Yep.
EA. And
Yep.
the developers in it are massive. That's the name, massive. And they are
Yeah.
the people who made The Division.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that when they say open world, story driven, that is going to be a nice RPG.
That's what I'm hoping for, and I'll be ecstatic.
Yes, me as well. Um, and as a good side note, because I know most of you here are Fallout fans, Bethesda and Todd Howard have been tasked by making the new Indiana Jones game. And they are going to be developed by Machine Games, who made the Wolfenstein series. Um, this could go either way, because one, Bethesda.
Yep.
Number two, Bethesda and Todd Howard.
Hey, it
And
just worked.
yeah, it just works. And three, the Wolfenstein games, they were great, but they didn't do well, especially the last one. So I do have high hopes in this coming in, but um, I wanna keep my high hopes down. Uh, and as of now, okay, all Star Wars games are going to be under Lucas Films Games. So that means that they
Yep.
are going to be regulating like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
They hold a high standard, and this is what the franchise needs in the game world, the gaming community.
Yeah. I'm kind of hoping that they continue with the games fit into the lore too.
Yes. Uh, they have been known to use a lot of the games to further tell the story, or tell the in between stories, like the latest Star Wars game, not Rogue Squadron, but The Force Unleashed, is an in between story of Vader hunting down Jedi's.
Yeah.
Um, the Battlefront 2 was an in between of I think it was the fall or the rise of the Empire? Re-rise? I don't know. I didn't finish the storyline, so I really don't know what the story is on that one.
Yeah. It's after the fall of Empire, but like more or less following the aftermath of the Battle of oh, what's the island that or the island the planet that Ray is first on? Jakku. It follows that.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's hope.
Yeah.
All right. So,
And a little bit, in case you don't have this,
mm-hmm.
so there's a rumor out there that Aspire is for those that can remember back um, in the 2000s, Knights of the Old Republic. Aspire is gonna be taking those and re-imaging them, and they're hiring former BioWare people to work on them to re-image them and update them.
That's awesome because BioWare is under the gun right now. And
Yeah,
I was talking about this with VG the other day, and she is very knowledgeable about the gaming world news. But BioWare is under a sink or swim shit going on right now. And if things don't get straightened out, BioWare might not be part of that. So we gotta hope that
Yeah.
things work out for BioWare. Um, let's see what else we got here. I want to since we haven't talked about Disney, let's move off of Star Wars. And if you guys have been paying attention to my movie background, I have some Marvel shit going up. Let's quickly talk about that because I know Gary, you got to get going in a few minutes, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, um, the Marvel universe is doing really well right now. I'm not pleased with all the Marvel movies, but I do like a lot of them. Uh, how do you feel?
For the most part, there's pretty much all of them I've liked. I can't think of many that I haven't liked. That actually fall under Marvel Studios. Some of the X-Men ones, as we all know, were uh, pretty big flops
Fucked.
and didn't go over very well.
Fucked up storyline. What?
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. Um, but as far as the stuff coming out of Marvel Studios, I think they're doing a great job. There's a few things that were kind of like, whatever. And they're apparently WandaVision's fucking just rocking it. I haven't watched any of it yet.
Oh my god! I'm
Um,
glad you mentioned that because that segues right into what I wanted to talk about was WandaVision.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Apparently it's pretty fucking awesome.
it is, and let me tell you, okay, and I'm not gonna spoil it too much, okay. This one I'll be a little bit respectful for because it is just out. I have not finished watching the whole season. Um, when you first start off watching WandaVision, you're like, what the fuck is this dog shit they are trying to feed me? But as you progress into the story, and to me, I feel like the episodes are not long enough because just as you start to get into it, it's done. You don't see nothing for the next week.
Yeah.
Give it a chance. Get into it. My old man, Papa Smoke, was like, I'm like, hey, you gonna watch WandaVision? He's like, yeah. And then he walked back to my room after the first episode. Goes, really? You fucking wasted a half hour of my life. And I'm like, give it a shot. Because I was the same way. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. This is the stupid of stupid ideas that I've ever seen. But as the story progresses, you find out what's really happening. They put up a very good facade in the first 2 episodes where you think it's one thing when reality is another. And then it just snowballs from there. So, WandaVision is definitely, I say, a must watch. But here's the one thing that I will spoil for you, okay? And I kind of want your idea on what they might do with this if they have other intentions behind this. So Wanda, which I forget her superhero name, Scarlet, Scarlet
uh,
something,
Scarlet Witch.
something like that. Her brother dies in Age of Ultron.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
Gets shot up.
This was huge.
Yes. So in the and I'm going to use air quotes Halloween episode of WandaVision, they bring his brother back, but the person who's playing him, and they refer to him as the Silver Streak, is the Silver Streak from X-Men, the younger X-Men, not the original X-Men. So if you ever
Yeah,
watch
so
any of the X-Men series, you know who I'm talking about
the
when I say Silver
the
Streak.
one where he's running around in the they break Magneto out of the Pentagon or wherever the fuck it is. He's running around the kitchen and the sprinklers are going off and he's smacking people with food and
Right.
all that kind of stuff. It's that dude.
Yeah.
And yeah, I actually saw that and I was like, holy sheep shit, Batman.
Now, do you think they did that as a um, kind of like a foreshadowing of new X-Men movies? Or do you
It's
think
very
that was just
possible.
like a, hey, here's a little happy Easter egg for you?
I I I I mean, I think they did that because they could. because they recently um, bought the rights for all of that, and so because that was part of the reason why they um, they had the difference between the Silver Streak and her brother, right?
Yeah.
And it's that's why one says that they're mutants, and the other one, they don't call them mutants. It's because
Metahumans or whatever.
yeah, right. It's because of all these different fucking legalese naming rights. And it's because Marvel fucking sold off part of the rights to shit back in the day because they needed the money. Um, so and now that they're owned by Disney, they're slowly going in like, we want to buy our rights back. No, fine, we'll just buy your whole fucking company then. Like,
Right.
talk about fucking strong arming some shit. But yeah, I think that they're doing it because they can, and they probably want to try to reunite or unite as many of the storylines with stuff as they possibly can.
Well,
Which,
there is rumor, okay, going around that within the next few years of the Marvel Universe, okay, they now the rules, the copyright rules and laws are fucking ridiculous. So Hulk cannot have his own movie because he's still owned by Sony or Warner Brothers. I can't remember which one.
probably Sony.
But they can refer to him. He can be in movies, but he can't be on his own. Now, we are also looking forward to a Deadpool 3.
Yeah.
He is part of the Marvel Universe. He is part of the Avengers universe. He
Yep.
is allowed to badmouth them in his own movies and be a rated R, but he is also allowed to be cameos in the upcoming Avenger movies, but not talk bad about the Avengers in said movies. And there is rumors that he will be cameoing, that he might be cameoing in the new um, Doctor Strange and a couple of the others.
That'd be
Um,
pretty cool.
yeah, which would be pretty cool. And they're going to be played by um,
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Thank you. Oh my God! All right,
They
fell.
better, because that would be fucked up if they haven't been played by a completely different character in those movies.
He's got exclusive rights to it.
Yeah.
He's contracted in, and they have him supposedly in like 3 or 4 different things. Now, there is the Wolverine reboot that's coming out soon. And I don't know the exacts on that. But there's going to be a new Wolverine, and I think they're going to bring back the younger cast of the X-Men, but they're revamping the whole fucking series. And I think what was disturbing is that one of the guys that acted in one of the Marvel movies is playing a character, I think, in one of the X-Men movies, but not the character he played in the Avenger movies. So there's still going to be a little inconsistency there. And again, don't
Yeah.
quote me on it because I'm not 100%, and I'm not sure who it's going to be. Um, and also Marvel has the it's been leaked, and I'm going to use finger quotes there, that there is going to be a Spider-Man Venom crossover. And the reason how this got leaked was the actor who's now currently playing Spider-Man was doing an interview with some other guy. Um, and they blatantly asked him, um, will we see a movie with you and Ed Hardy as Venom? And he didn't know how to answer it. He was like, well, I really can't, I don't know how to answer this. And then just had that look. And then the person that he was with kind of cut in and did their thing about that. They kind of sidelined it, so it was like,
Yeah.
but people caught on. So we are expected to see a Spider-Man Venom crossover, and I hope it's really soon because I'm digging the new Spider-Man movies. I really am.
Yeah, the new movies are pretty damn good. I like them.
Right.
I
And
mean, they picked a pretty hot chick for Aunt May.
yeah, no kidding, huh?
Even at her age, she still looks damn good.
My biological clock is ticking. That's all I can think of every time I see her.
Yeah.
Um, let's see, real quick, what else do I have here? There is a new series that is going to be coming out, I think, spring, of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yep.
And there are going to be some cameos in that, which I'm not sure of what they are. And the new Thor movie that's coming out is been confirmed by leaks of Vin Diesel and another actor that the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to be in the new Thor movie, which is great.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think let me reverse one thing. Um, a good thing about what WandaVision is doing is that it takes place right after the snap,
Yeah.
and they talk about it in the movie, in the show.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the things I think was important to understand for that show is the shows that they're having are going to be all the people that were gone after the snap.
I am extremely curious of how they're going to continue the Black Panther story.
Yeah, I mean they're gonna have to recast him. That's just
And
unfortunately the way of things.
if you don't know, and you've been under a rock for the past year, the actor who played the Black Panther died of health complications that he kept
I think
secret.
he had cancer,
Yeah,
prostate cancer or something. I don't know exactly what it was, but yeah, he died from that.
he kept it a
Nobody,
secret, and nobody knew about it.
yeah, he filmed the movies with it. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, big loss, big loss. Um, let's see. Uh, real quick, I'm gonna hit you up with a what if scenario. I was gonna talk about Nickelodeon and the Illuminati uh, conspiracy theory that's going on with them, but we're now running on almost 2 hours,
Yeah,
and I originally wanted this to be like an hour and a half. But the DC universe um, is looking bright. Hopefully, uh, uh, the it's very complicated.
well,
Uh,
they need to simplify that shit.
they
That's
do.
their problem. They make their own complications and they have to keep rebooting shit all the time.
Yeah, they need to just fucking kill it. They're trying to do the same thing that Marvel's doing, and they started off with the Flashpoint of
Yeah,
there's multiverse, and this Batman is on this universe, and Flash is on that universe, and they need to cut that shit out.
right.
Okay.
Exactly.
We have the new Robert Pattinson movie, Batman movie coming out. Okay. Um, which I have high hopes for because they took parts from Kevin Smith's Batman story as well as the older Batman stories and made it more back to the detective comics like type of story. There are rumors
Cool.
of Johnny Depp playing the Joker
Huh.
at some point, but they cannot because of the last movies that came out with Heath Ledger, as well as the Joker movie that came out, who has been said to not even be part of the DC universe. which I don't know how you can do that.
They just exercise it. Like, fuck it, that's not even part of this because it sucks so bad.
I liked the movie. It was very slow paced.
The Joker movie?
Yeah, but when it
Yeah,
got to
I
the
haven't
end,
seen
I
it.
was like, "Damn, that's the
It-
Joker I know."
Not, that's not the one with Phoenix, right?
Yes,
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
If you truly
Oh,
watch that
okay.
movie, it makes you think. Like you have to watch it more than once, because spoiler, if you've not watched it, it's the slow progression of the Joker becoming insane.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
And what you don't know is that from the beginning of the movie to the end, is this guy having hallucinations through the whole movie? When does it happen? Like, at what point is the movie, what's going on, and is it the Joker's hallucinations? Like, his insane, like, okay, you're telling me this, but in my mind, you're saying this.
Right.
It is extremely intelligently made. But what pisses me off is that he's the director of it and the writer is like, I do not want it to be part of the DC universe. Which, if you got that Joker character into a Batman movie, and I'm saying have Joaquin Phoenix play it, that I think is another Heath Ledger ability Joker right there. Like Heath Ledger level of Joker.
Yeah.
And I think DC needs to start yanking all of their rights from everybody and give it to one or two directors and say, go with it.
Yeah, they need somebody like Kevin Feige who's managing the entire story of everything, right?
Right. You know
You
who I
know,
would love to see do it?
get some stuff together.
I would love to see Kevin Smith do it.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Smith is
Yeah.
such a Batman fan, and I'm so psyched for his He-Man universe coming out this summer, coming up, I believe, on Netflix. I think if they
That'd
gave
be
it to
fun.
him, he would do it right.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Um, let's see, what else do I need to talk about real quick here? Is there anything you wanted to talk about?
No, I think that's probably I think we covered about everything that I'd want to talk about. We
Well,
covered a lot of stuff.
yeah, we did. We hit a lot of stuff there. I mean, we mostly focused on Star Wars, which, to be honest with you, dude, I could talk to you for days and argue with you for days on end about
Yeah.
Star Wars. I really do. We
Yeah.
see a lot of eye to eye, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
this.
I'm always happy to have a conversation about Star Wars, that's for sure.
So what's coming up on your channel?
So I just posted an announcement video today, next Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Time. I will be doing a review of the last 20 issues of my Millennium Falcon build, and so we'll do a review, then we'll do some Star Wars discussion and talking about things, whatever. More or less, just we'll do a chat-driven discussion about Star Wars. Um,
Is that gonna be? That's gonna be a stream, right?
yep, it'll be a stream, and so we'll see how that goes. But I want to. I'll probably continue doing these reviews every 20 issues, and so it just works out. 20 issues. The 20th issue, 40th issue technically, will be this upcoming Friday, and so
40
I'll just
episodes.
no,
No
fifth. It's the 40th issue.
issue.
There's like 58 or 59 episodes. So yeah, because some of the issues take more than one video to complete. Like there's
Damn.
a couple that's had 5 videos, uh, several that's had 3, quite a few that's had 2, and obviously there's been a shit ton that's only had 1. But yeah,
That's great, dude. You got some fucking patience doing that. I've seen a couple things that come out that are advertised like your Millennium Falcon, like I just recently saw one on the James Bond DB, Austin
Yep.
Martin,
Yep.
and I would love to put that together, as well as the um, Back to the Future DeLorean.
DeLorean. Yeah. So a lot of those, you don't have to paint them. Nothing. Like the most you'll have to do is glue stuff together. Maybe a few parts, but a lot of the parts are either going to be snap or screw together. I haven't watched. I've watched like a couple snippets here and there of people doing different things throughout those, but like the same company has a X-wing that's out right now
Mm.
that I think you can get. It's fucking huge though. Like the wingspan is like 3 feet wide or some crazy shit.
Wow.
It may be only 2 feet wide, but they're fucking huge. Like it's a big fucking thing.
I wish I had the
It's
patience
definitely
and
not
money to
the
do that.
scale of the Falcon, which is unfortunate, but they put a shit ton of detail in it, like parts to the engines and stuff, and all that kind of stuff. And so, like, you're doing a bunch of stuff that you're not going to see because it's all going to be inside of different things or whatever. But they, like, hardly any of it needs any glue whatsoever. It's either snap or screw together stuff. So, you don't even have to paint anything. Everything comes pre-painted and all that. So, yeah.
Well, maybe when I
Regardless,
start working again, I'll look into doing something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Um, hello, Otto. Thanks for showing up at the end, Otto. If you guys didn't know, Otto was supposed to be here with us tonight, but he did have prior engagements that he had to do. So, welcome, Otto.
He had
Um,
been one.
he had been ones. He was rubbing his ass against the carpet. Don't worry about it, Otto. We all love you still. Um, Let me think. What else do we need to talk about real quick? I don't know how often I am going to be doing these Nerd Nations, but god damn it, man, it brings back some good memories of when me and you were doing our podcast show.
Oh, yeah, good time for sure.
I would love to do it again and maybe this time get Otto in on it.
Yeah.
Um, is there anything else you would like to plug in?
No. Been I'm sure that anybody's checked out my channel recently. Been doing a lot of push-ups and stuff. Continued expanded from doing the ones as part of challenges for the veteran suicide prevention, which is still near and dear to my heart. Just not doing a challenge for it. I'm doing them now just to try to continue making myself better, and so that's kind of the new series is a better me.
Hey, and
And
listen, guys, when you check him out, don't do like I do. Don't just watch the video. Hit that thumbs up and, give him some encouraging words like, hey, keep it up. Something. Don't be silent on his channel. Just let him know you're watching and that you care.
I anybody that's in here that's a YouTuber, so there's a lot of us that's in the
I think the
whatever.
whole chat is nothing but YouTubers.
Yeah, yeah, we all know that like you put out a video, you want to see likes and you want to see comments and all that kind of stuff. You want to have that interaction because that way you know that people are actually watching and you want to be able to have that conversation. And sometimes you're asking questions. What do you guys think of this? And it'd be nice to get the answers to the questions. So yeah, definitely don't be afraid. And there's a lot of people in here that watch that definitely do post comments and stuff on some of the videos, and I know they're hitting the like. So I appreciate all of that. So
Yeah, the other my latest video, and I am going to give a huge shout out to this person. I think I have like 34 views on my last Atomic Shop review. Like 4 thumbs up and 1 comment, and that 1 comment is from the man himself, Slacker, who is such a great supporter of everyone's channel. So thank you, Slacker. Um,
pretty awesome.
so I think what the next thing on my channel that you guys can look forward to is probably next Tuesday. I'll be doing another Atomic Shop review. Um, I'm going to slowly get back into streaming again. To be honest with you guys, I just really haven't felt like I'm going to be entertaining enough for you, so I have stepped back a little bit from it, and I do miss it. So I will be getting my ass back into that, and I will be doing some more collaborations with people. Hopefully, we can get Gary back in here to do another conversation about what? Who the fuck cares? As long as we're having another conversation with Gary.
That's right.
Um, yeah, I think that is it, folks. So without ado, let me switch this over to this and say thank you very much for Gary, local 4-pack, for talking with me in the Nerd Nation today. I truly, truly appreciate you, brother. Um, Never a dull conversation with you. Other people might not like it, but goddamn, I love talking to you.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you asked me to join you for this because I always enjoy our conversations and you know I'm sure that we could probably keep going for hours, but um, we got to draw the line someplace, right?
Right. Pizza dough challenge. You got me lost on that one, VG. We'll have to talk about that one. Although I would like to say I would love to see Gary put out another progressive Fallout 4 challenge.
One took a lot of fucking work the last time. Holy crap! Well, we'd have to slim it down. A lot of people had a hard time doing the challenge. I thought the challenge was easy. A lot of people were like, "Man, I couldn't get my levels, and I couldn't, you know, I built too much, and I couldn't build anymore." I'm like, "Well, that's your fucking problem. You couldn't figure it out." I didn't have a problem getting the levels, and I built the right amount. You know, you don't have to have. I mean, it's supposed to grow and progress, not just like third video, boom. Like I have an entire town here. Like you have to let it fucking develop, man.
I
You
think
have to pace yourself.
my
That
biggest
that
regret in
challenge,
that is I didn't roleplay it enough.
yeah, the role playing was the best part of it, definitely without a doubt.
You guys definitely came up with some great stories there.
Yeah, um, like that's where a lot of us got introduced to Judah, and like she was a fucking rock star of the whole thing, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, Big Jim. I still give her a hard time about that. God love her.
Yep,
She is like the salt of the earth. I really love her.
she's pretty awesome.
All right, so that being said, guys, I hope you liked this, and if you did, hit that thumbs up. And just to let you know, there is a way for you to help support my channel. It is pinned in the conversation above, as well as a little small logo in my banner. And please make sure you hit Local 4-Pack's channel on YouTube. Here is his channel one more time for you to give him the love. Thank you, Gary, and thank you all. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and we'll be a happier family. Say goodnight, Gary.
Good night.